it's Amy. Welcome back to the sewing room. Today I'm sharing 10 essential sewing books that have genuinely improved my sewing. There's plenty of surprises in there, but something for every skill level. Whether you're a newbie sewer or you want to boost your sewing skills, I've got the books for you. Stick around because number 1 and 2 helped me get the perfect fit. You'll never guess what I picked for number 6. And I genuinely don't know many people who've read number 10. Let's dive in. Wait! I'm still giving away pattern vouchers in each of my videos. I'll pop the code up on the screen shortly, so make sure to keep watching and hit that subscribe button. For this video, 3 lucky people can use the code that's appearing on the screen now. Ooh. Those 3 people can claim 1 free pattern each from sewdirect.com. After 3 individual uses, the code will expire. So try your luck and please let me know in the comments if you were one of the successful people. Not lucky this time? Watch the next video so you can try again. Back to the video. After 15 years of sewing, these books are my secret weapons for fit, construction, experimentation, and education. They're not sponsored, I just use these all the time and completely recommend them. Number 1, Kenneth D. King's Smart Fitting Solutions. This is such a gem. This book teaches you to identify fit problems and fix them systematically using the Smart Fitting system. I love how methodical it is because it removes the guesswork from toile fitting and gives you a clear process for solving issues. The book is packed with detailed photographs showing toiles on real people and how to adjust for common problems like shoulder slope, back fullness, waist shaping and bust outs. Then it shows the second toile and final tweaks you can do to achieve a polished finish. You're taught to read the wrinkles, and I've used these techniques on simple and more complex garments, and I've always felt like I'm in good hands. This book has been in my sewing library for 10 years now, over 10 years. What sets this book apart is the combination of the explanation and the practice. It doesn't just tell you what to change, it shows the teacher making the adjustment, why it works, and how it affects the overall garment. That understanding has completely changed the way I approach fitting. Instead of guessing or making endless toiles and muslins, I now have a system and I can rely on it. I know not everyone likes toile making, but this book could give you a new appreciation for it. And who can't love Kenneth D. King? What a legend. Whether you're sewing casual garments or more tailored pieces, Smart Fitting Solutions is pretty invaluable, and it's clear, practical, thorough, all those great things. And it gives you the confidence to tackle some trickier fitting issues, especially if you want your garments to feel comfortable, look polished. This book's a must-have. Number 2, Sandra Betzina's Fast Fit. This is a book that changed how I approach pattern fitting as well. It's easy pattern alterations for every figure, just like it says on the title. If you've ever struggled with patterns that don't quite fit, this one's a game changer as well. Because what I love about it the most are the images from the sassy little women showing their fit issues to the incredibly helpful photos of altered tissue pattern pieces. They're clear, easy to follow, and they show common fit adjustments from shoulder adjustments, waist shaping, length alterations, bust start tweaks, all those great challenges that we all face. I've used this book countless times. I've even got my favourite page bookmarked, and I use it when altering dresses, blouses, jackets. It helps you understand how the body shape interacts with the garment, which means you can make confident adjustments. It just takes the guesswork out of it. The book is approachable, practical, has that conversational style that makes topics easy to understand no matter how technical they are. It's organised in a way that lets you find the alteration you need quickly, which is perfect when you're in the middle of a project and you hit a fitting issue. This is also helpful if you sew for other figures, not just your own. And you want everything to fit beautifully. It's like having a little fit consultant by your side, guiding you through each adjustment. It's practical, thorough. Honestly, I'm serious. It's genuinely changed how I approach sewing patterns and how confident I am with making fit changes. Number 3 is a relatively new book, the Palmer Plesh Complete Guide to Fitting. It came out only a couple of years ago, I think it was, but what I really love, it has real people, not just mannequins, to show how pattern adjustments affect the garment, and it gives you multiple methods for altering your pattern pieces to suit your preferred way of working. That, for me, makes it practical, relatable for all types of learners. It's incredibly helpful when sewing different body types as well. And yeah, I was very impressed when I looked through this book. The book covers everything from basic pattern tweaks to advanced fitting techniques. It walks you step by step through, all the classic shoulders, bust, waist, hip adjustments, and includes helpful diagrams and examples. Like I say, it's a pretty new addition to my library, but I've already picked it up when sewing a couple of garments with sleeve fit issues out of curiosity for how Palmer Plesh would recommend I tackle them. One of the standout things about this book is the breadth of topics. It's like an encyclopedia of fitting. And the book empowers you to sew with confidence and ensures that every piece you make fits beautifully. It also opens your eyes to the world of tissue fitting, a tool that can be very helpful in skipping the Toiles stage if that's your least favourite part of sewing. A real gem to add to your library. Number 4, this is for the couture lovers, one of the most valuable sewing books I own, Bridal Couture, Fine Sewing Techniques for Wedding Gowns and Evening Wear by Susan Kalji. Now this book can be a bit pricey because it's sometimes hard to find, it goes in and out of stock. But after using it for 3 different wedding dresses and some ball gowns, I can honestly say it's worth every penny. What sets it apart is the level of detail. Susan doesn't just show you how to sew a bridal gown, she walks you through the entire process from selecting underlinings and working with delicate silks to perfecting lace applique and hand finishing your seams so they look as good inside as they do out. Her sections on boning, inner structure and fitting formal bodices were invaluable to me, absolute lifesavers when I was tackling my own wedding dress. The directions are clear and you get that same blend of couture precision and approachable explanation that Susan's known for. It's like having a mentor in the sewing room with you, helping you while you sew. Yes, it's a technical book. This isn't about shortcuts and you can't just flick through it absentmindedly. But if you want your bridal and evening sewing to have like heirloom quality, this is the resource you need. Every time I open it, I learn something new or appreciate the way that something is explained. And yes, the 4 example dresses are perhaps a little dated, but they contain all the techniques you need. Just look past the vintage silhouettes. If you're ever debating the price tag, remember one successful gown using these techniques will more than pay for it. Bridal Couture is a true classic for any serious dressmaker's library. Number 5 is another icon in the industry. If you're serious about improving your sewing and want to understand why couture garments look and feel so different, Couture Sewing Techniques by Claire Schaefer is one of those books you'll return to again and again. I have the revised 2011 edition, aka the 2nd edition. And it's packed with timeless wisdom drawn from Schaefer's decades of studying and deconstructing couture garments, from Chanel to Dior. It's a wonderful resource. I was very lucky to interview Claire during my time at Love Sewing. She was such an inspiration. What makes this book stand out is the level of detail. It doesn't just tell you how to hand finish seam or pad stitch a collar. It explains why those methods matter and how they affect the final drape or structure. You'll find clear diagrams and beautiful photographs, in-depth descriptions of couture hand stitches, closures, linings, shaping techniques. All of it goes far beyond the standards of home sewing guides. It's not a flashy coffee table book. It's more like a masterclass in print form. It's not a quick read. Some chapters are pretty dense, but that's what makes it such a gem. It's the kind of book you dip into again and again as your skills grow, and even experienced sewists will find new insights every time they open it. I'm actually looking forward to rereading the section on jackets ahead of my winter sewing plans. Whether you're aiming to sew a once-in-a-lifetime jacket, refine your finishing skills, or simply appreciate the craftsmanship behind haute couture, Schaefer's approach is inspiring and deeply practical. It bridges the gap between fashion, history, and hands-on techniques beautifully well. So in short, Couture Sewing Techniques isn't just a sewing book, it's an education in what it means to sew with intention, patience, and artistry. Number 6 is the Fabric for Fashion, the Swatch Book, revised 2nd edition. I actually had the 1st edition for years and it was a staple on my shelf until I sold it. It held its value very well, and this revised 2nd edition has taken it to the next level. And I think if you haven't got it, you should upgrade. Mine is on the way. This is a hardback binder crossed with a book and features 140 or 142 swatches and yarns of the most recognised and widely used varieties of fabrics to encourage consideration of not just like their aesthetic appeal, but also their structure, feel, weight. Natural fibres such as cotton, silks, wools and linens are all included, help you really understand the difference, as well as a wide range of man-made fibres, alternative plant fibres like bamboo and hemp, etc. One of the biggest improvements is the updated fabric swatches and the inclusion of those more man-made modern textiles. The new edition reflects changes in fabric availability and fashion trends, so it feels more current. The book still gives you that tactile experience, which is what I've always loved. You can see and feel large swatches of different fabric types, which makes it so much easier to understand how a fabric behaves, how it drapes, and how it might respond to sewing techniques. I find it's taught me so much about identifying fabric by feel alone. Another great difference is the expanded technical information. There's more detail on fibre content, weave structure and care instructions, which makes it useful as well as both like a reference guide and a teaching tool. It's also fun if you're like a fabric nerd like me. I use it countless times when selecting fabric for projects, and it's very handy if you're trying to translate a design idea and you want to figure out the right stiffness or drape or type of fabric to match the fabric performance to your pattern. I also really appreciate that this book is visually appealing and organised very logically, so it's easy to find what you need, whether you're a student or a professional or a hobby sewist. This swatch book will open your eyes to all the new kinds of fabrics out there and be an invaluable resource for understanding fabrics on a deeper level. Number 7. Of course we need to talk about this one. It's a classic that's been a constant on my sewing shelf for years. The Reader's Digest Complete Book of Sewing. Mine is from 1997, but there are so many editions out there to pick up. There's a rumour that the older copies are better than the new ones, but I can't comment on that. This is one of those books you can always return to, whether you're a beginner or a more experienced sewist looking for a reliable reference. Honestly, this should be in every beginner sewist's bookcase. It covers almost everything you need to know, from hand sewing techniques, hemming, seam finishes, working with a variety of fabrics, tailoring basics, and even a section on alterations. The way it's structured makes it quite easy to navigate. You can flip straight to the topic you need without getting lost in pages of text. Everything's pretty much summarised to 1 or 2 pages, and it's full of tips. My personal favourite, and the one that my bookmark is in, is at the zippers section, the lapped zipper in particular. The very large, Very detailed step-by-step diagrams make every technique so approachable, and they have helpful advice for tricky fabrics, tricky seams in there as well. What I love most is how practical it is. It doesn't assume you already know the tricks. It teaches them clearly, logically, and in a way that's easy to apply in real projects. Nearly every technique is still relevant today. So if you want a comprehensive, approachable, and practical sewing reference that covers everything from basic techniques to slightly more advanced, this book is definitely worth having on your shelf. Number 8. This is the first sewing book I ever bought on a recommendation from my teacher when I started dressmaking all those years ago. And this is the Vogue sewing book, revised and updated. If you're looking for a comprehensive guide that kind of bridges the gap between home sewing and designer techniques, this book is a gem, and it's been a go-to resource for me for years because I've had it so long, and yeah, I do keep going back to it. It has a real understanding of garment construction. It covers everything from choosing the right fabrics and interfacing to mastering darts, pleats, facings, and even a bit of tailoring in there as well. There's a whole section on sewing with tricky fabrics like silk and wool, which I found incredibly useful when I've been working on more structured projects. The book is packed with illustrations and step-by-step instructions, making complex techniques easier to follow. And while it's clearly aimed at beginner sewers who want to elevate their skills, it's also accessible for total beginners who are ready to challenge themselves. This book really helped me understand how small details and seam finishes and proper pressing make a huge difference in the final garment. If you want a book that feels like a combination of a textbook and a practical guide, this is the one to add to your bookcase. It's informative, clear, and will stay relevant no matter how your skills develop. And it really reminds me of how far I've grown. Number 9. It's a book that's been a cornerstone of pattern cutting for decades, Metric Pattern Cutting for Women's Wear, 6th edition by Winnie Aldrich. It's part of a series that you might be familiar with. I actually learned to pattern draft with this book. Even though I don't use my skills that often, I know how to pattern draft, but I do like a pre-made pattern. And I love the clarity of the illustrations and diagrams. There are so many techniques included, whether you're working on darts, pleats, gathers, shaping seams, all of it, collars. The diagrams are incredibly helpful. Technically, you might have spotted, I've got the 5th edition here. And while it's excellent, I've heard the 6th edition has made some significant improvements to make it even more valuable. So I'm thinking of upgrading. The 6th edition stays true to its original purpose, providing a solid foundational set of blocks, a clear introduction to the core principles of pattern cutting, and practical examples showing how those principles translate into real garments. So in that regard, it's the same as the 5th edition. But one of the biggest updates specific to the 6th edition is the expansion on sizing and body measurements, providing more detailed information for contemporary curvy figures. It features a fresh, improved layout, modernised skirt and trouser blocks that better reflect different body shapes, and expanded content on computer-aided design, all really helpful. Several blocks, illustrations and diagrams have been refined, making the instructions even clearer and easier to follow. Another great addition is the updated coverage of modern fabrics and construction techniques. I got a peek at a copy of my friend's, and the explanations of stretch fabrics, layering and tailored finishes feel much more relevant to today's sewing projects. But regardless, what I love about this book is it doesn't just give you the staple blocks, it teaches you how and why the shaping works, which is invaluable if you want to create garments that truly fit and drape well. And if you're new to pattern cutting, I think it's a very approachable method, and I've used it for several years now, and I think it's going to stay useful for years to come. Number 10, a book that's inspired me so much over the years, is Ruth Singer's Fabric Manipulation, 150 sewing techniques, 150 creative sewing techniques. It's so much fun to experiment with texture and structure in your sewing, and this book is an absolute treasure trove of ideas. What I find amazing is the sheer range of techniques Ruth covers, from pleats, tucks, gathers, smocking, ruching, layering, and creative fabric folding. She comes up with a load of really inspiring ideas. There are 150 techniques in total, each with step-by-step instructions that are very clear and illustrations that make it very approachable, even for more complex manipulations. I was lucky enough to feature Ruth in Love Sewing magazine about 10 years ago, back when I was the editor, and this really gave me an appreciation for how inventive and playful her approach to fabric is. Her book feels like an extension of that energy. It encourages you to be experimental, try new things, and really think about fabric as a medium, not just a material. And all of the techniques are not just for show, they're practical and can be incorporated into garments, accessories, or home projects. This book hasn't just inspired me to try the techniques covered in its pages, but to be more curious and experimental in general. And I have a Pinterest board that is full of interesting design construction and design details that make me appreciate skilled sewing even more and gets me excited to try something new. If you love adding unique touches to your sewing, or if you want to explore creative ways to transform fabric, Ruth's book is absolutely worth owning. It's inventive, inspiring, and a book I keep returning to again and again. Go on then, let's have a bonus book. Simplicity's Simply the Best Sewing Book. I finally got my hands on the ring-bound edition. So this one actually lays flat on your sewing table, and I've been flipping through it for you. It's quite similar to the Reader's Digest and Vogue sewing books. It's part reference, part teacher, with sections on understanding patterns, choosing fabrics, getting the perfect fit, and sewing trickier fabrics. The layout is super practical, clear diagrams, step-by-step instructions, and loads of little aha tips tucked in there. I was just actually looking at a section on how to overlock side seams that have an inseam pocket, all in a single fluid motion. And I wish someone had told me that when I was starting out. Plus, I saw a neat trick for determining buttonhole size for domed and shaped buttons with a scrap of fabric, very clever, and how to make continuous bias binding from a square of fabric, much more. A very fun, detailed book. I'd say it's perfect if you're anywhere from total beginner to confident sewer. Again, it doesn't assume you know everything, but it also doesn't talk down to you. There's even a section on patternless projects, so these are quick makes that you can whip up when you just fancy sewing without overthinking. So obviously it's not a couture tailoring manual, so if you're looking for highly advanced techniques, check out the books I mentioned earlier, but as an all-round sewing Bible, it's pretty good. The 2011 ring-bound edition has about 270 pages and has been updated for modern fabrics and tools. Plus, I love that it lays flat, but you could also find a second-hand copy of one of the previous editions. That's my full list of 10 amazing sewing books, plus one bonus. I didn't include any project or pattern books. Are they your favourites? Let me know in the comments what's your must-have book, because I'd love to discover some more hidden gems. Don't forget to like, subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss a future video, and you get more chances to claim a free pattern voucher in future. I'll see you all soon. Happy sewing!